Human civilization, as far as uh, they have determined, I believe, is at least 2 or 3 million years old. Humanity, a presence of humanity in the current format is at least 2 or 3 million years old. And for a long time, up to recently, maybe 18th century, 17th century, many of the branches of humanity has been used to cannibalism, human sacrifice, and cannibalism, and it just it's been a couple of thousand years, through a couple of million years of history of humans on Earth. A couple of thousand years, humanity has stopped cannibalism, and eventually they stop human sacrifice. So what this says is that about humanity, about all civilization, is that as the technology, as the information accumulates, as the technology advances, these primitive attitude, which were very much related to, for example, cannibalism, was very much related to lack of nutrition. In nature, it's difficult to find nutrition. If you're not cultivating any, if you're not living in a society in large numbers where there's farming going on and all of that, for hunter-gatherers, accumulating calories was a very difficult issue. Nature doesn't provide that much calories. So cannibalism is just a byproduct or side effect of lack of nutrition. So when another human being dies, the whole tribe decides that, okay, we're gonna eat the meat and honor the bones, or something of that nature. So the reality is that after technology advances and there's cultivation and raising of animals, and eventually in the next few decades we're going to have industrial production of muscle tissue in factories. They find the how to do with machines, and they just after that they just need energy to disassemble molecules and reassemble molecules, and convert shit into muscle tissue for steak. My point is this, that eventually technology, as it catches up with the civilization's needs, the old ways of doing things, which was human sacrifice, which was cannibalism, then it was human sacrifice, then it was animal sacrifice for the purpose of consuming the meat. Eventually, they retire those traditions, and they look down on those traditions. That's sort of like those are barbaric traditions. Already, we still Middle East sacrifices animals for different occasions, and already many other cultures look down on them for just doing that. It's considered a barbaric act. Well, the same thing was, a couple of thousand years ago when the British were sacrificing humans. The Middle Easterners, who were more advanced, looked down upon them in a way that, consider them as barbaric for doing human sacrifice in the British island. So my point is this: as the technology advances to meet the needs of the civilizations, the old traditions slowly are considered barbaric, and they go out of style, and nobody does them, commits them, and until eventually they become outlawed. There's laws are passed against it, that you can't do this. Right now there are laws that you can't uh, kill another human being. That's manslaughter, that's homicide. But eventually in 20, 30 years there's going to be laws that says you can't kill other animals unless, go through a rigorous process of this, and that, and specifically show a need to kill specific animals. So they're going to eventually outlaw that slaughter of animals. Once the meat is being produced in factories and the nutritional need of the society is being met by just chemistry and physics, there is and the limitless energy from the sun, so there is no more need for killing other animals, and eventually the whole prospect becomes illegal. The whole idea becomes abhorrent. Why would you want to kill animals? You just, buy a pack of meat produced from such and such factory. My point is this. It's been proven. As the technology advances, so does other aspects of culture, other aspects of society, including culture and what is okay and what is not okay. Now imagine this, that a civilization so advanced, couple of million years more advanced than us, at least, probably, that can find its way across galaxies to us here on Earth. They're so advanced, they have found a way to travel very large distance to our galaxy and Earth. Now, I'm sure their consumption as far as food and energy and calories concerned, I'm sure they have already figured it out. I'm sure they know how to produce, what to produce, where to produce. And the only thing they require is energy, because with enough energy, you can literally turn shit into food. Just energy, because the whole idea is rearranging the molecules. If you have enough energy and the know-how to rearrange molecules, you can turn shit into food in a matter of hours. If you have the know-how and have the enough energy. So these motherfuckers, aliens of all kind, from across galaxies, other galaxies, are advanced enough to reach Earth across millions of light years. I'm sure they are advanced enough that they can produce their own food, their own calorie needs. It's technology. If you have the technology to travel so far and be invisible and, be evasive and, hide and be able to hide well and, not disturb the local population of different primitive planets like ours, then you have the know-how of creating food from shit. So they don't have any use for us. I mean, many people worry that these aliens may come to, they're going to attack us and eat us because they need food. No, they don't need our food. They don't need us as food. They don't need our animals as food. They don't need the food that we create, because they have enough technology to create their own food from their own shit, which eventually we will be able to do. My point is this. So they don't need us. They don't need our food. They don't need... And if they don't need calories from us, our planet, Earth, some say they come here for minerals and what we have and water and this and that. Fuck you. Mars is full of water. It's just under the sand, so we didn't notice, but it's full of water. All these comets are full of water, oceans of water. All this comet dust is water, ice vapor, water vapor. So there is a moon has water in the southern pole, in the south pole of moon. So there are as much water as anybody wants out there in space. Minerals, even easier. Space is full of minerals, and in contrast to Earth, you don't actually have to kill the natives, as the British and the French and the Spanish have done, which was killing the natives in order to get to the minerals. You, in space, you don't even need to do that. You just go in an uninhabited planet and take as much minerals as you need for production, more ships, more things that you need. Water and minerals, as much as you need, is available in space. And coming millions of years across galaxies to Earth means that they have the technology to extract as much mineral as they want from other uninhabited planets. They don't need the minerals on Earth. What you find on Earth, you can find it in every other planet, in even our solar system and across the galaxy. So they don't need our food. They don't need us as food. They can make their own food. They don't need our minerals here on Earth. They can extract as much mineral as they want from other uninhabited planets where they don't even have to fight the natives, as the British have done so on Earth. So there is, and another way that another problem that many see that may arise with aliens is that they're here. They may come here to colonize us. Colonize us. You're presuming that there is so many of them, like the fucking British, that they will have to, send out their excess population into Australia and into North America and South America and Africa. Europeans basically sent their excess population, especially the population that they didn't want, like all the criminals and maniacs that they sent to Australia. So the people the poor that the Europeans sent to America, the whole idea of Lady Liberty was, inviting the poor Europeans, send me your poor and destitute and blah, blah, blah. That was the whole idea. Europeans sending those humans they didn't want to North America to kill and slaughter the local population in North America and South America. Anyway, all of this is presuming that the aliens are overpopulated, just like the Europeans were, and they want to get rid of their population. Therefore, they're going to want to, send their excess population to Earth to colonize us, occupy us. That's also rather impossible, for the simple reason that here on Earth, even here, us on Earth in 21st century, the intelligent, more learned people have no children, or maybe one child. If you possibly two children, learned people, intelligent people, educated people, smart people, have one or maybe two, maybe. So the graph goes from, the idea is the more intelligent people get, the more informed people become, the more well-rounded they are, they reproduce less. They reproduce less because they sort of see the futility of the whole life business and the idea of suffering, and why add to the suffering to bring more people, more creatures to this world to suffer along with you. The whole idea becomes a little difficult to sell. The whole idea of reproduction becomes difficult to sell to an intelligent guy, because life is suffering, as they believe in Buddha, the Buddhist faith. So life is suffering. Why do you want to add to the suffering by bringing a couple of more bastards to this world? So the point is this: aliens being a couple of million years more advanced than us, having the technology and the culture and the understanding to navigate their way across millions of light years in distance to us here on Earth, I'm sure they're well learned enough, every one of them, that they haven't overpopulated their planet. They're barely reproducing, if any. because they also, if they're also life is, they understand life is, it's not really frivolous. They understand life has a end point, and the whole time, it's all pain and suffering. So let's create less of it. So they also learn not to reproduce so more. They have learned probably a couple of million years ago. So they're probably barely keeping their numbers up, just enough to exist. So they're not suffering from overpopulation that they need Earth to send their excess population to as a colony, or you know. So you put all of this together, that you understand that all of these factors means that aliens cannot be bad news for humanity, period. They don't need us, they don't need us, they don't need our food, they don't need our minerals. They're not looking to send their excess population to our planet in order to replace us, as the Europeans have done with North America and South America and Australia and Africa, tried to do with Africa, and now they're trying to do it in Israel. The point is this: they're not planning on replacing us because they don't reproduce that much. Because learned people, educated people, people with some level of cognitive ability, which we understand after millions of, if humanity stays around, manages to stay around for a couple of million years more, we're going to be at that stage. So we're going to be barely keeping steady numbers, barely. You have to literally beg people to have children, as they're doing now. Literally, right now, we are not a couple of million years old civilization, advance. We are right here as we are, as primitive as we still are. At this point, many well-educated societies, like in the Far East and Scandinavia and North America, many learned, educated, well-rounded population do not want to reproduce. Unless, it's a mistake or it's absolutely necessary, blah, 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 blah. So the politicians and the warmongers keep begging them to reproduce more. We need cannon fodder. So here's the thing. My point is this. Aliens who navigate their way towards us, to us, and are here on Earth, they don't need anything from us. Period. I have a feeling they're just here as observers. The same way we go to the zoo and observe the fucking animals, they're here just observing us and probably having a lot of fun just observing. Just having fun because, the same way we are entertained when we see a monkey throw his shit at each other, and I'm sure the same way they are entertained by watching us, pick wars with each other and start kill millions of people and attack each other and try to show each other how big our penis is as compared to our opponents. I'm sure they're very well entertained, these aliens, and that by itself is, I think, the goal for them, is to just be entertained. This entertainment business is very very important, because as you advance in technology and life becomes easier and easier to go through, because all your needs are met, boredom becomes the real issue. If your needs are met, if your fears are so taken care of, there is no scarcity, you don't have any issues to worry about. Boredom is a real problem. Creatures will become bored, especially intelligent creatures. Intelligent creatures become bored really easily, real fast. So these aliens, with all the intelligence that has manifested itself in them being able to navigate their way to us here on Earth, they're here to you know to cure their boredom. They're watching us, they're observing us, and as a real you can consider it as a what the reality TV, but in a planetary scale. Every one of us is participating in a Truman Show that the aliens are watching and having a good old time. At least they don't feel bored. Unfortunately, in some instances, millions of human beings are dying, but I am sure aliens have the clause of non-interference as much as possible, unless we decide to go nuclear, and I'm sure the aliens will have a problem with that, because they're also living on this planet, and they don't want to lose the planet more than we don't want to lose the planet. Inhabitability of the planet. The planet is going to be here. It's just not going to be habitable after the nuclear war. Anyway, so the point is this. Salute. It's just so we should be more accepting of aliens, and the problem is we can't, because we are still very primitive. We are still very primitive. We like to we want stuff, and this scarcity mentality is very strong in human beings, and the main reason for the scarcity mentality is a matter of energy, and we can and the fact that we cannot extract energy as efficiently as possible from the resources that we have, and the main one being the sun. I believe as soon as we can extract a substantial amount of energy that we need from the sun, we may put an end to this scarcity mentality. But unfortunately, this scarcity mentality is going to stay as long as we have capitalism. But then again, you understand that human beings, like other animals, are lazy by nature. So you need an incentive to have human beings to work towards the destination to achieve unlimited energy. So hopefully when we reach the destination of unlimited free energy from the sun, we might not need to force humans into this scarcity mentality, because we no longer need their labor as much. With this automation and the robots and all of that also added to the matter. So once you don't need to force your population into labor as much, then you can provide your population to what they need, and you don't worry about them being lazy. And hopefully this scarcity mentality will go away. Therefore, our violent nature hopefully will go away. Aggressive, violent nature that the Europeans are well known for, the British, the French, and the Spanish. As soon as this violent nature goes away, we might be able to make contact with it. Not we might be able to make contact with aliens. We can't, because they're much more sophisticated than us. It's the aliens who are supposed to feel safe enough to make contact with us. We make contact with aliens only when they want, and they will want to make contact with us only when we are not this violent. I mean, literally, there are empty planets in our solar system, and a group of Europeans have gone to West Asia and taken over a piece of land. They named it Israel, and they are, they have kicked out the local population, as if there is not enough land on planet Earth, empty land on planet Earth, and there is no enough empty land on other planets, the moon and Mars and all of that. So this is our primitive nature. Apparently they feel that area on Earth has, has does miracles. I'm not sure what they think they can find on that little area, dry desert area on east of the Mediterranean. But again, it's out of the primitiveness of humanity. Who the fuck, which intelligent alien wants to make contact with these fucking primitive creatures? I understand they made contact a couple of times and they were shot on sight. Any human being sees anything they haven't seen before, the first idea is to shoot it, because we are scared, because we are mentally retarded still. Here's to aliens.